Welcome in, hour number 3, Thursday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. Encourage all of you to make sure that you don't miss a moment. Download the iHeartRadio app. You can listen to this show anywhere. I also would encourage all of you to go subscribe to the podcast. You can search out my name, Clay Travis. You can search out Buck Sexton, and you will ensure that you never miss a single moment of the program. All right. Buck, we've got what I think it's important to know. So let me just say this for people who are getting in their car. Joe Biden, as we speak right now, is having a joint news conference with the Prime Minister of India. We are rolling on that. We'll see if anyone in the media actually asks him questions about his son, Hunter. Now, there are lots of revelations coming out associated with a whistleblower from the IRS. And I'm going to read some of this to you that is now circulating. We've reached out, I believe, is this correct, to the head of the this investigation, to the congressman from Missouri, to get him on to potentially talk about this. I've been reading some of his quotes. But this is from what they have uncovered. An IRS whistleblower said that Hunter Biden once sent a message demanding payment from his Chinese business associate, telling him, "I'm sitting here waiting for the call with my dad," and that the DOJ had prohibited investigators from executing a search warrant on Joe Biden's guest house where Hunter was staying. This is pretty blockbuster stuff, Buck. Listen to this. This is a WhatsApp message from Hunter Biden to Henry Zhao. Hunter Biden writes, and this is a direct quote, "I am sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled." This was written on allegedly July 30th of 2017, a WhatsApp message. "Tell the director that I would like to resolve this now before it gets out of hand, and now means tonight. And Z, if I get a call or text from anyone involved in this other than you, Zhang, or the chairman, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me, a.k.a. his dad, and every person he knows, and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father." This is Hunter Biden. And again, according to this whistleblower, in a September 3rd, 2020 meeting, the assistant United States attorney told us there was more than enough probable cause for the physical search warrant, but the question was whether the juice was worth the squeeze, said optics were a decision, and they would not allow that warrant to Buck, this is pretty blockbuster stuff.
It all makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, that's the part of this that hits me right away. Think of what we are supposed to believe right now. Think of what, if you were sitting there at the Morning Joe panel, you would have to say to the audience so they wouldn't get mad at you. You would have to say, so what if some Chinese businessmen, and apparently you're Romanian, and as we know, Ukrainian too, were giving Hunter millions of dollars. He was setting up dummy LLC corporations. There was never any business advice or counsel or anything exchanged of any kind. No products, no services. Hunter tried to hide this. He got caught. And we're to believe that this wasn't an effort to sell influence, and this wasn't effectively a form of not just influence peddling, but possible bribery. Now, because you could say, oh, well, Hunter is selling access to his dad while Trump is president. Yeah, what he's really doing is selling access to Joe Biden. So Joe Biden could then, theoretically, push things for these Chinese interests. Effectively, the Bidens are owned by the Chinese. That's what this is telling us, which does not surprise anyone who has been following this at all, because nobody gives $17 million to somebody for no reason. There's always a reason. And no one thinks that crackhead mess of epic proportions Hunter Biden was advising or building companies or doing anything of value other than accepting bribes on behalf of the deep state, corrupt Democrat system. That's
Buck,
it.
let me hit you. Let me hit you with some more of these allegations.
Oh, my gosh.
Buck, this is our friend Sean Davis. I believe he's still at the Federalist, right? Does fantastic work.
Yes.
Good guy. I retweeted him earlier, but he is sharing this. This is a direct link to the Ways and Means Committee. And again, we are going to reach out to the chairman of the Ways and Means. We already have. We're going to get him on to tell this story to you, hopefully tomorrow directly. But according to the Ways and Means investigation, these IRS whistleblowers, the Department of Justice, I'm reading, interfered in the investigation into Hunter Biden's tax issues with a delay, divulge, and deny campaign that shielded him by allowing, Buck, we talked about this, statutes of limitations to pass on his tax crimes. We talked about this on this show for some time, right? They quote U.S. Attorney Leslie Wolf saying there's no way a search warrant for evidence would ever get approved because the evidence would be found in the guest house of former Vice President Biden. Investigators found out that attorneys for Hunter Biden, this is pretty staggering, were tipped off about actions relating to the investigation in advance. For example, I'm reading from this, even as investigators had probable cause to search a Northern Virginia storage unit in which Hunter Biden had stored files, attorneys to Biden were tipped off before that search occurred. Also, and this is the deny element here, and they need to get U.S. Attorney David Weiss under oath to testify. But according to this whistleblower, Weiss tried to bring charges, and we mentioned this earlier, but I want to reemphasize this, tried to bring charges against Hunter Biden in D.C. around March of 2022, that is last year, over a year ago, was denied. He then, Buck, sought special counsel status from the Department of Justice, which we have said for a long time was necessary. He was denied. And he also tried to bring charges in California in the fall of 22, had the request denied in January of 23 as well. The fix, according to these whistleblowers, was in on Hunter Biden. So for everybody out there who has been following this case, and I know a lot of you have aggressively, and we've covered it, this all adds up, right, Buck? It all makes sense as to how this rig job happened.
Of course. Nothing that we are finding out is a surprise. We're just getting the data points together to bring us to the conclusion that we've already been at this whole time, which is that Hunter Biden was running a global influence peddling and bribery scheme on behalf of the Biden family. And how could that be a shock to anyone? You might say, whoa, that's so reckless and it exposes himself. No, Hunter Biden, the crackhead who has been, riding dad's coattails for the last 40 years or whatever. This is a guy who has thought at every turn he would get bailed out because of his father's connections. He is utterly reckless. That's not surprising in the least. And when you're looking at the additional information here we're getting on this, Clay, this is the definition of why you need a special counsel.
I can't believe this, Buck, and I'll confirm it with our team. Biden just walked. They took questions. Nobody asked about any of this in the White House press briefing, and he's now walking out.
The Constitution, Article 2, Section 4, the President, Vice President, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, and other high crimes and misdemeanors. Bribery. The founders were very concerned about bribery because it pollutes the entire system. We've got Donald Trump facing federal indictment for a document dispute and a process crime. And now we have more evidence than ever before that Joe Biden had his son running around as the bag man. Now, it's not even just about when he was vice president or president. He didn't register as a foreign agent. He was taking money under the promise that there would be an influence in American policy on behalf of these foreign entities. It is the definition of corruption. And you're actually not, you're starting to get closer and closer to the point where the Democrats, if this is proven, if we can just find the banking records, I don't see how they can avoid at least the public reckoning of this. The DOJ, I'm not going to sit here and be naive. Under Biden, the DOJ, the fix is in. The whole thing's corrupt, so I don't expect that to change.
I get so fired. You know this. I get so fired up sometimes. Am I correct, guys? We were running tape on this. No one asked Joe Biden anything about Allie. No one asked anything about Hunter. These are blockbuster allegations. I mean, to your point, Buck, even if you accept everything that has been alleged in the Department of Justice filings, the indictment in Miami, South Florida surrounding Donald Trump, the entire thing boils down to these are my papers, them saying they're not your papers, and a dispute over whether or not that is true. We're talking about the foundational millions of dollars directly tied to Hunter and Joe Biden and evidence from the IRS that our government completely covered for Joe Biden over this. Nobody asked about it in this press conference. Not one question.
No, of course not. And it would be like asking Fetterman when he was running for Senate, whether he could spell his name. You're not allowed to ask the important questions anymore. You're not allowed. And on this point about the whistleblowers, Clay, these IRS whistleblowers, think about this, my friends. These are not lib whistleblowers. None of them are going to get a contract at MSNBC and some kind of a book deal somewhere for speaking truth to power. They are risking their careers. They're going to get death threats. They're going to get tremendous pressure as more of this information comes out. What does an IRS whistleblower or an FBI whistleblower gain other than the ability to speak the truth when it attacks a Democrat? So I see this and I say, to me, this is a I mean, we want to say smoking gun. I feel like we've had many smoking guns already. What is their explanation? What is the no harm explanation of what we know now as a matter of fact? We're to believe that so Hunter Biden was running around pretending to be sitting with his dad so he could shake down Chinese Communist Party interests to make him rich, and that's okay? And this is who you want to run the White House? I mean, we really got to sit around and ask ourselves some very basic questions.
When we come back, we're going to have audio for you. House Ways and Means Chair Jason Smith, just in the last 45 minutes or so, much of what we have read to you, we will have the audio from him. These are blockbuster allegations coming out of the IRS whistleblowers, including evidence, again, of an alleged WhatsApp message from Hunter Biden saying he's sitting next to his dad, threatening his Chinese interest if he doesn't get his money, that there's going to be hell to pay based on what he and his dad and all of their allies will do. I mean, this is legit smoking gun blockbuster story that is just come out.
We are looking very closely at this big breaking news story about the IRS whistleblower who has come forward here with incredibly damning stuff about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. This is the connection. They were hoping that they could make this whole thing go away with the preposterous plea deal that with the diversion program and 2 misdemeanors for Hunter Biden. But it looks like that may not be as easy as they had anticipated or as they had hoped it would be. So Representative Jason Smith of Missouri, we've got him here speaking about this. Play the audio.
The testimony we released today shows the IRS recommended charges against Hunter Biden that included attempt to evade or defeat tax, a felony, fraud or false statements, a felony, and willful failure to file returns, supply information, or pay tax. These tax crimes cover an estimated $2.2 million in unreported tax on global income streams to Mr. Biden and his associates from Ukraine, Romania, and China, totaling $17.3 million from 2014 to 2019. Mr. Biden personally received $8.3 million.
For what, everybody? Ask the obvious question. And another obvious question, Clay. If hiding millions of dollars of income through dummy LLCs from sketchy foreign sources is not tax evasion, there's no such thing as tax evasion. That is where we are with this Hunter Biden thing. If you're not going to get hit with a felony for hiding millions, I mean, right? Should be a free-for-all.
Yeah, and Buck, to me, the allegations that are coming out, and I think we're going to be talking about this all day tomorrow, because this feels to me, as I am reading, and obviously we're live on the air, this feels like smoking gun evidence of a cover-up of Hunter Biden's behavior by the highest levels of the Department of Justice. I think we have to talk about immediately impeaching Merrick Garland. I think he needs to be immediately called to testify. I think all of the heads of the IRS, everyone involved, Weiss, who did this investigation, I think he needs to be put under oath by the House Republicans. All of this needs to immediately happen. And if these allegations are true, Buck, this is it for Joe Biden. I mean, because this is directly connecting to everything in his power being done to protect his son from the consequences of the behavior. This would be a cover-up of epic proportion, the likes of which we have not seen in most of our lives associated with Joe Biden's behavior.
You know, there's a reason Obama didn't want Biden to run. Remember that? You don't have to do this, Joe. Obama's a lot smarter than Joe Biden is.